Some chess openings are better than others. Using a time-tested opening can help you improve your game and even boost your chance of winning. Recognizing and understanding the best openings can increase your confidence in the beginning phase of the game. Number 1. Royal Lopez. Also known as the Spanish game, is named after Rodrigo Roy Lopez de Segura, a Spanish bishop who analyzed this opening in his 1561 work, Libro de la Invención Liberal y Arte del Juego del Ajedrez, the Book of the Liberal Invention and Art of the Game of Chess. Nearly half a millennium later, the Roy remains one of the most popular chess openings. Chess experts have come up with numerous variations, and a wide variety of strategic plans are available to both white and black. The starting position of the Royal Lopez is reached after the following moves: e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. Popular lines in the Royal Lopez include but are not limited to the Morphy defense, Steinitz defense, and the Berlin defense. Each of these and several other variations lead to numerous sub-variations. Italian game. First developed in the 1600s and perhaps the oldest chess opening, the Italian game, also called the gioco piano, the quiet game, in Italian, is reached by the moves e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4. It remained popular through the 19th century but today has been supplanted by the Royal Lopez as white's favorite choice on the third move. In this opening, bishop c4 eyes black's potentially weak f7 pawn, but over the years, improved defensive techniques have shown this to be less dangerous to black than bishop b5. Still, the Italian game often leads to aggressive, open positions, which can be fun to play. This opening is still used at all levels and is quite popular among club players. Variations in the Italian game include the two knights defense and the Hungarian defense. Sicilian defense. The Sicilian defense e4, c5, is black's most popular response to e4, especially at the highest levels of chess. By playing c5, black immediately fights for the center and attacks d4 but avoids the symmetry of e5. The Sicilian defense typically leads to a complex and dangerous struggle where both sides can play for a win. There are many distinct variations in the Sicilian defense, each of which leads to different types of positions. They are the closed Sicilian, classical Sicilian, dragon variation, and Najdorf variation. French defense. The French defense e4, e6, concedes central space to white and limits the scope of his king's bishop but prevents tactics against f7, while allowing black to have activity on the queen side and counterplay in the center. After the most typical line of d4, d5, white's pawn is immediately pressured, and white must decide how to deal with this. This leads to several variations including the exchange variation, advance variation, Tarasque variation, Winaire variation, and classical variation. Caro-Kann defense. Like the French defense, the Caro-Kann defense e4, c6, prepares d5 on black's second move to challenge white's e4 pawn. The Caro-Kann is extremely solid but not as dynamic as many of black's other defenses against e4. Compared to the French, black has avoided blocking his king's bishop but will require a second move to play c5, a source of counterplay, where a player in a weaker position, essentially, fights back. Popular variations in the Caro-Kann include the classical variation, advance variation, exchange variation, and pan of Botvinnik attack. Pirc defense. Originally considered an inferior opening, the Pirc defense e4, d6, is now accepted as a solid choice. Black allows white to build an imposing center, then attempts to turn the center into a target for attack. Some common variations of the Pirc defense include the classical system and Austrian attack. Queen's Gambit. White players who prefer a quieter, more positional game tends to prefer d4 to e4, after which the c4 break is the best way to play for an advantage either on the second move or soon after. The Queen's Gambit, marked by the moves d4, d5 and c4, is one of the oldest chess openings. This classical approach pretends to offer a pawn. In reality, black cannot expect to hold on to the pawn if the player chooses to capture it in exchange for a stronger center. Black has several options, the Queen's Gambit accepted, Queen's Gambit declined, and the Slav defense. Indian defenses. After d4, Black is not obligated to play d5. In response, the best response to d4 is knight f6, which leads to a collection of openings known as the Indian defenses. These openings, while less solid than the classical d5, offer more immediate opportunities for counterplay. There are many popular lines arising after knight f6: the King's Indian defense, Nimzo Indian defense, Queen's Indian defense, and the Grunfeld defense. English opening. The English opening is a flexible choice for white. The English often transposes into openings normally seen after d4, either exactly or with slight variations due to move order. You can also enter a reversed Sicilian defense if Black responds with e5, where white is playing the Sicilian defense with an extra tempo. One well-known setup that can arise from the English opening is the hedgehog defense. Ready opening. The ready opening knight f3 is named after the great chess master Richard Ready. Like d4 and c4, the ready also generally leads to closed positions, and all three moves can transpose into similar setups. One possible formation for white is the King's Indian attack.